Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next speaker, Sabine Wojcieszak, presenting the topic, Let's Boost Our Happiness as the Real Game Changer.
Tools today in the companies. But I really believe in the magic of happiness. For me, happiness is magic because it can do amazing things with us. And if Houdini is true, and I believe in the magic of happiness, the future belongs to me. I'm pretty sure about this. So, for me, happiness is really a serious thing. It sounds a little bit weird, but it's a serious thing. It's a serious thing when we talk about being successful. And especially when it's not there, then we have a problem. So we are on a developer conference, so we need to have a cat on the slide. So here's the cat. It's the only cat, but it's connected with my promise. I promise you, we will dive a little bit into the magical world of happiness, why it's so important, and how you can make use of happiness. And the future is yours. So this is my promise. But there's always a but, you know? So when we talk about happiness, it's all about you. It is not enough to know that happiness is important for us. Many people would say, common knowledge, we need to be happy. Everyone knows that. But the truth is, just to know it isn't enough. You have to do it. You have to use this knowledge every single day. And it's really easy to be happy when everything is going in the right direction. The work really starts when the time gets tough. Yeah, when things are not going right, when you have mistakes, when failures appear, and then being happy is really hard work, but it helps. So the best thing is to start when things are going good, so that you are prepared for those times where it's not going that good. Easier to apply. So that's me, just to make sure this person is me. Yeah, the other one is my husband, and together we run the company Get Next IT. We come from Kiel. So we are ferried to Klaipeda and drove by car to Vilnius, and that will exactly be our way back. And we are a consultancy. We are helping companies, teams, and individuals to be more successful. So if you look at this, I'm not a fan of sci-fi movies, but I'm a fan of AI tools. And so Janeway is not exactly Janeway, it's me. It's the new screensaver of my husband's iPhone, because he is a fan of Enterprise and me. And he said that's the best combination, so fine. If you want to connect with me, this is my QR code to LinkedIn. Feel free, and also post about the presentation if you feel to. So one thing which often pops up also on social media is that we need to be first successful and then happiness will come afterwards. That's not true. Because where is the end of being successful? When we start to be successful, we sometimes want to be more successful and more successful and more successful. When do we have to reach the point to say, now it's time for being happy? No definition for that. And the other thing is, to be successful, we often have to go a very rocky road with a lot of challenges on it. And we need to find ways to overcome these challenges. And this needs a lot of power, physical power, but also mental power. And we can get this power, especially the mental power, out of happiness. This helps us to survive with all these challenges, to master them, and to come to success. So happiness is a prerequisite for being successful. Not that way. Yeah? And this is important to remember. But now, reality. We are all over busy, right? What do I mean with over busy? We have so much to do that we do not even have time to improve stuff. When I talk to companies and teams, oh, come on, let's improve this, and say, yeah, we really would like to do, but we don't have time. So we are staying in the mud because we don't have time to get out of it. And this is some kind of being over busy. And the results in my workshops and coaching sessions are people who are really stressed. We heard this yesterday in the keynote as well. People who are overstrained, people who are insecure about what they are doing, people who are helpless, dissatisfied, and then unhappy at the end of it. Yeah? So this is the result of being over busy and not having time to improve things which are not going right. So the work harder approach does not seem to be a good idea anymore because we are already stressed. We are exhausted, and then working harder to be more successful does not work. In my coachings, I had a young lady, she told me, for 4 years, I did not go on holidays for 4 years. Maybe a long weekend. But on this weekend, I was working on my emails. So this is not holiday, right? Another one told me, I have so many meetings during the week. All the strategic and creative work I have to do in the evening, at the weekend, or during my holiday. What? The result was that someone told me, I don't know how much longer my body can take it. Who of you knows such or similar situation in your company? Maybe by yourself, or you see it with other people. Yeah, there are some. And the question we have to ask ourselves is, am I happy? And this is a question I always ask in my coaching sessions, in my workshops. Are you happy? And the reaction is that people look at me and say, what are you asking? Am I happy? I have never thought about this. Yeah? But it's the prerequisite for being successful. We should think about it. Might be better. So, we always have good intention with whatever we do. No one wants to do a bad job. We always want to do a good job, so we have good intentions. But sometimes we believe in outdated stuff. Some of these outdated beliefs are, don't be like that, don't be a wimpy. Or something like, you have to get through it. Or, that's just the way it is. Yeah? Don't complain about it. That's just the way it is. And we do this all for success. And when I talk to people about this, they say, oh, Sabine, we are professionals. That's the way it is. That's how business goes. That's the way how you will be successful. And I say, yes, exactly, because you are a professional, you should rethink the way how you behave. Because you are a professional and your task of a professional is being successful. So do the right things. Yeah, and when we know that those things don't work, we should think about other ways to be successful without being always stressed and overstrained and exhausted. So, the problem is, we are all knowledge workers. And our most important tool is here inside of our head, our brain. Yeah? Knowledge workers need their brains. It's the most important tool. And if it does not work, you can't replace it. You need your own one. But if we are overloaded, if we feel insecure, if we have the feeling of being helpless, or if we are unhappy, our brain does not work properly. No way. There are a lot of research done for this. So everything, our feeling about this is backed by science. So if we have this bad situation, we are not creative. We need longer with every task we have to do. We are not resilient. So if things go wrong, this will really throw us down. And we cannot change that fast, because when our brain is not in the right mood, every change needs so long. Maybe this is a problem why changes and transformations in companies take so long, because people are too stressed, the brains are not in the right mood. Yeah? So we think about strategies for improving change management and all those stuff. Maybe it's a very simple solution, having a better environment for people. Learning is also difficult. We are in days where things are changing ever faster. Learning is part of our daily job. But if we are stressed, learning really gets hard. And at the end, it leads to less productivity. That's the result of it. Yeah. No talking about productivity tools. One thing what we should do to overcome these old beliefs of you have to get through it, that's the way it is, it's maybe something like a spring cleaning for our beliefs, yeah? Just to check out which beliefs are still valid and which should be thrown away. So like Maria Kondo is doing this for your flat, you can do it for your brain and your beliefs as well. So this means we have to unlearn old beliefs and replace them with new beliefs and new patterns we can apply to our daily life. So, what can we do to unlearn? Oh, no, it's not the right one. So, this is the one I want to show. Psychiatrists have shown that things like burning beliefs, physically burning beliefs, helps our brain to get rid of them. So, you're writing those things down on a sheet of paper, and then you burn it. This connection between the brain and seeing what's happening really helps our brain to unlearn old beliefs. You can believe it or not, but maybe you try it. So, and then there's always the thing, yeah, I know that I have to change, but so many buts. I think you all have some buts in your head. Yeah, what can be the but why we don't start to change anything? And then people also meet companies. So we have to work. We usually do this in a company, in our own or in another one's company. And in a lot of companies, we have huge elephants in the room. Problems no one wants to address. Problems like, yeah, you see this, no use of strengths, no fun at work, poor leadership, poor culture, no room for personal development. You know them all. Maybe not in person, but you have heard of them. And there are still companies who are doing this. And this is an environment where people do not have the space to be happy. Yeah, because there's so much working against your own happiness. So the company, each company should give the environment the room for being happy. But that's not all. Then you have to do the rest. You can offer people an environment where they have the chance to be happy. If they are not willing to take it and to develop it for their own happiness, it will not work. So it's a task which has to be done from two sides. We need to have the environment and we need to do it by our own. That's the way it is. Yeah. So just to let you know that I'm not talking about something stupid, I have some numbers with. And these numbers are from the latest Gallup study about the global workplace. And they say for Europe, these are the numbers for Europe, we have 15% of employees who are actively disengaged. 15% of employees are actively disengaged. This means when you want to start a change campaign. They work actively against it. Yeah? We have, on the other hand, only 13%, 2% less, of people who are engaged. Those people who really want to do something great, who want to do the change. 13% against 15%, and then we have 72% in the middle who are not engaged. They are called the quiet quitters. So they are not working actively against anything, but they are not supporting any initiative. They are just there. So this is not a good thing. And to be honest, 13% of engaged people is the lowest number in the world for Europe. So we obviously seem not to be the people who are really engaged, or we have not the culture in the companies that people like to engage. That's the thing. But I have here the numbers for Germany. In Germany we have 19% of actively disengaged people, and you see what costs come up when you have so many people actively disengaged in companies. So this is a good reason to work against it. Yeah? So it's really costly. So let's get back to the number of Europe, 15. When we have 15 people and you are one of these 15 out of 100 who is actively disengaged, just let me tell you, it's not about you as a person. Having the same person in another team, in another company could be a completely different result. Yeah, it's just this person in this environment, in this situation. But if you belong to these 15 people, or 15%, please take responsibility for yourself, because when you are actively disengaged, believe me, you will not be happy. And this is not healthy for you, and you will not be productive, and you will not be successful. But please also take responsibility for others, because you will really be hard to bear for the others. Yeah? You will throw them down. And leave. Make a decision and leave. That's the best decision you can do. On the other hand, if you are a leader, and you have one of these 15% in your team, please also take responsibility. For yourself, because you will get crazy with someone like this in your team, but also for the others, for the rest of your team. And also let this person go. As I said, it's okay. It's not about this person, it's about this person in this situation. And I have two examples. In one of the companies I worked for, there was an agile transformation. The company decides to go to agile, and they did it in a good way with a lot of time for learning. And there was one guy, he decided that's not a good way. And he was actively disengaged. Whenever he had the chance, he was chatting with his colleagues, saying, oh, everything is bad, and that's not a good way, and the whole process slowed down. And then this person, it was a good decision, decided to leave this company and go to another company. So, this company has not started with Agile, but they wanted to. And they hired him because he had already some knowledge of this. And he is happy there. So it's the same person, it's the same idea, getting Agile, but in a new environment, it's good for him. And it was not good in the old environment. Yeah? He worked there for 15 years and had a good position, but now everything changed, and this was not what he wanted. Going to another company means he is doing the change, and that's fine. He was happy there. And I had another thing. One company I'm working with is sending me a lot of people for coaching. So and there's one team who should be the beacon for the whole company, how to work in the future. So really shaking things up, doing new stuff. And I had 5 coaches from this team. And after my coachings, 4 people left the company. And I was, oh. So do they ever send me a coachee again? And I met the team manager and he said, you have done an amazing job. I said, really? You are aware that 4 people have left the team? Yes, that is fine. It's fine for us as a team because we need people who really want to do this, but it's also fine for them because they weren't happy with me. Yeah, so I had a manager who had a pretty good understanding about what's going on, but for me it was like, oh my God, what would they say? 4 out of 5 are leaving the company. Not a good sign, but it was. So what has happiness to do with this? When we look at the definition of Martin Seligman, who is one of the first positive psychologists, he says happiness is the result of joy, the result of engagement and of meaning. And here we have the word engagement. And we had the engagement index before. People who are actively engaged are really happy because they like what they do, and that's the reason why they engage. And out of this engagement, they refuel their happiness. So whenever we are in a situation where we are not sure, is this a good situation for me or not a good situation, we should make up something very simple, which is the pro and cons list. What's the good side? What's the negative side? Because sometimes we just get stuck in these negative emotions and we don't look at the positive side. And when we create a list, not only in our brain, writing it down, we had a better view about this. And this gives us focus and clarity. So another explanation or definition about happiness comes from Barbara Fredrickson. She's one of the world-leading researchers about happiness. And she has some more aspects of being happy. Cheerfulness, joy, fun, gratitude, serenity, interest, hope, awe, inspiration, love, pride. We can all connect them to our daily work. Pride. Are we proud about what we are doing? Do we love what we're doing? And with whom we are doing and how we are doing it? So we can everything connect with our daily work. So what is the difference between fun and happiness? Is there even a difference? And yes, there is one. And it is that fun is a short-term emotion. So yesterday evening we had party. This was fun. And after the party is over, maybe we remember it, but this fun will be gone. Yeah, someone. Happiness is more a mid and long-term overall mood and also a mindset. This is the way how we see the world, the way how we look at everything. And this is the difference. Fun is a part of happiness. So sometimes people say when we have not a lot of the activities that are fun, we are closer to happiness. That might work for a while. What is happiness not? It's not a naive approach or being blind about what's going on. So people who are happy also see that there are things which are not working. They don't believe that everything is rose in the world. They don't believe that water is champagne. They still see the problems, but they know also the other side, that there is something good about it. So this means that when we talk about happiness, we talk about a broader perspective. So usually our brain is trained to see the bad stuff. This is from our ancient times, where saber-toothed tigers are around and always a threat to our life. It was important, but this is not the way it is today. What we are now doing is that we have to open up our perspective and also see the good things. Not only the bad things, but also the good things, and that's the balance. That also means that we do not only have to look at the don't-haves, but also on the things we have. We don't have this car, we don't have that car, but maybe we have a car. Yeah, so get the balance right. That's the thing what we are doing. And the engine for happiness are positive emotions. Positive emotions? Oh, I can say emotions? We are in the IT sector. Who of you has emotions? Oh, wow. Great. So, but what I hear say, Sabine, again, we are professionals. We are not talking about emotions. And I say, yeah, exactly, because you are professionals. You have to talk about emotions because maybe you can hide them to the outside. But inside of you, you will have emotions. And we need to take care of this because they are important for you. So we need to create situations to have more positive emotions. Which means sometimes we just need to be aware of the positive stuff around us, or we have to create more of them. That depends. What can we do to create more? On the individual level, you can write gratitude lists. What are you grateful for? We can think about what was good today. We can also celebrate successes. You know this from Agile. On team level, this means we can do weekly checkouts and talk about what was good in the week so that everyone goes into the weekend with a good affirmation of the week and not having the bad stuff in mind. We can end each meeting with a collection of what was good. Or we can also celebrate successes on team level. So now it's your turn. Talk with your neighbor about what good things happened last week. 1 minute to chat. And observe the one person who is talking about his reactions on the face. Yeah, so you have 1 minute, chat about what was good last week. I hope you have something to talk about. Okay, maybe you have realized it's really hard to remember what was good last week. It's for us most of the time easier to remember what wasn't good this week. But when we look at the face of someone who is reporting something good, the whole facial expression is always also changing, and this is the amazing stuff about it. And it's, I promise you, not only outside, it also happens inside, because a cocktail of hormones will be released when we're talking about good stuff. And this gives us more power, more self-awareness, and all those things. Okay, another thing that we should do is we should not go to the next goal or rush to the next goal as soon as we have reached one of this. And this is what we are actually doing in companies. So one goal, okay, the next. And there's no time in between to perceive that we have done something great, no time for celebrating or enjoying that we have done something great, and no time for being proud of what we have done and what we have reached. And being proud is so important for us, is so important for our happiness. So who of you has been proud during the last week? Proud about what you have done? Great. Amazing. What can you do to be more often proud? So you can write a success or pride list. What have you achieved during your professional career? Just to be aware of this. You can also talk about it, and you should talk about it with your colleagues so that it's part of your culture to talk about these achievements and that you are proud. And you should be able to accept your success. I know a lot of people say, hey, great job you have done. Oh, that was not a problem at all. Yeah? So instead of saying, thank you, amazing, yeah, I'm happy about this, So it's important that we are able to accept this success. On team level, we can also do success retros. A retro where we really talk about success and why we have been successful. What was the key to our success? We can also learn out of this. We can have a success board. Some people have failure boards. Why not having a success board where we show that we are successful and why we are successful? We also can create a team definition. What does it mean to be successful? My definition of success might be a different one than yours definition of success. So why not having a team definition of success? And also establish a ritual how we can celebrate success. Another thing to be happy is positive communication. Researchers run an experiment with young children, age about 4, and they had one group, they should resolve a puzzle. And they just sent these young children into the room and they did the puzzle and they took the time, how long it take. And they had another group, 4-year-old children. They don't know anything about psychology. And they talked with them about, how was your ice cream yesterday? Did you enjoy it? Is it delicious? Just a positive chat. And all of those children with the positive chat before outperformed the other group by solving this puzzle. And it's the same for adults as well. So when we go into the meeting and someone says, hey Sabine, think about the last time. This is a really hard customer. Don't do the same mistake again. Be careful. I will always be in a meeting. What do I do? I will not be at my best. But if you say, I know, you're a great communicator. You're exactly the right one for this job. Rock it. I will go and say, yes, that's it. I will do it. And I will do it. Yeah, so positive communication is important, not always pointing out the negative stuff, also pointing out the positive stuff. So, Sean Aker wrote that happiness is not an overall mood, it's a work ethic. And it's the indispensable ingredient of success. You can read this in his book, Happiness Advantage. So, really recommend this book when you are interested in this topic of happiness. We also had the explanation of fun as part of being happy. And what does it mean, having fun at work? This is not about the kicker table. It's not about fancy colors in the office. Can be, but it's not the only thing. We have more things which are more related to work. And the first one is the stuff of having playfulness at work. Doing some experimentation, using creative tools to brainstorm all the stuff. So really things we can use in meetings, in our daily work and all those things. Playfulness. The second one is connection. Being connected with what you do. Having an idea of the vision of the big picture. What is your part in this big picture? And being connected to the people you are working with, the teamwork. Yeah, team building is part of this as well. And the third part is flow. What do you need to get into the flow? Getting rid of all these tasks which are not bringing you forward, getting rid of all these unnecessary interruptions, everything what has to do with creating the space where you can get into the focus. So, and when all these three things come together, we have the real fun at work. And to be honest, everything of this is implemented in Agile. When we do Agile right, when we have the right idea about Agile. When we are just focusing on being faster, we leave out these important steps. We don't focus on why we are doing all the stuff. We are just focusing on the delivery and not on what this does with people. Yeah. And there's a book about this, The Power of Fun by Catherine Price. I also really recommend this book. Laughter is also important for happiness. We need to laugh. And this book, Humor Seriously, also very interesting. But sarcasm and rudeness is not humor. And I have a lot of companies in the IT sector. And I know also these t-shirts with this sarcastic quotes on it. Remember the keynote yesterday, he talked about how to dress up. When you are wearing these sarcastic quotes, you might take it as a funny thing. Not everyone is able to understand sarcasm, that's the one thing. And it also gives a signal. So we always should be aware of this. So when we apply happiness and positive psychology, as happiness is a part of positive psychology, we have more creativity, we have a better collaboration, we have more resilience, we have a better productivity, and also our leadership style will improve if we incorporate happiness. And this is all important for being successful. So your 6 steps to boost your happiness are: get rid of old beliefs, be aware of the positive, there's another side than just the negative, celebrate successes, create fun at work, not by just installing a kicker table, but having a look at the way how you work, use positive communication, and love a lot. This is really important. So you can use the magic of happiness in the way that you are your own game changer when you apply happiness for yourself. And don't wait for others to make you happy. They won't do that. This is your task. So you all have now one last task. And please stand up. It's early in the morning. We need to do some exercises. So one arm to the side, the right arm to the side, and this. Yeah, that works. Okay, now we try it with the other arm. Okay, now with both. And faster, faster, faster. Thank you very much. Okay, other questions from your side? Oops. Do you have any advice how to get creativity back when it's the consequence from burnout and fast-paced work? Yeah. That's a hard one, because when people really run into burnout, it's a long way back. I think the most important thing is to change your environment. So get out of the environment which brought you into the situation and really start with someone who can help you to reflect on the situation, and then try out stuff, creative stuff, to find out what you really enjoy. So sometimes things changes completely up after situations of burnout, and you need to find out what now makes you happy. So you really need to try out, and it's a little bit of coming out of your comfort zone, not to say, oh no, I don't want to do this. Just see it as I have to try out. Yeah, and then you will discover, you only can discover what brings fun back and creativity back when you try it out. But therefore you need this step to get out of your comfort zone. And maybe someone, a good friend or your partner, can help with this and can push you a little bit, so that's easier to overcome this. Any advice on fighting imposter syndrome? So the question is, are we talking about what is imposter syndrome from the psychological side, so which has a deep root in your childhood, or are we talking about the mainstream imposter syndrome mostly every person has in the professional environment? So when we have this in this mainstream one in the professional environment, I would say have someone who helps you, a coach or a colleague who says, come on, don't complain, go. I have a good friend, and when he always starts to complain about things, I don't know if I can't do it, and I say, come on, stop complaining, now it's time to move on. I have listened to you, I know that you can do it, and I will lead you, I will help you through this situation. I can't talk about the psychological imposter syndrome with the roots in childhood, because this is a completely different process. Yeah, so I'm not a psychologist or a therapist, so I can't help with this. So if startup was bought, an environment goes from happy to corporate, and whole team not happy, should everyone needs to leave? It depends. It depends on how hard the situation really is and what you have tried out. So this is your responsibility. It's not the company who is important or is making you happy. It should just deliver the environment. And when you really feel that this is not the way you want to work, and this is not the way you want to have for your future, then you have to make a decision. And this decision can either be, okay, I will leave, or it is, I would give it more time and try out and then make a decision, just to postpone the decision, can also be. Or you decide, okay, I will try it, but then stop complaining about it. Yeah, because it's also the decision that you need to make a cut there. As long as you go on complaining, you will waste a lot of energy, and this will make you even unhappier. So you have to make a decision, which is either it's not good for me, it's making me sick, I cannot do my best, I cannot perform here, I have to choose another way. Or you say, that's the way it is, it's okay for me because I like what I'm doing, but then stop complaining, because complaining will make it harder for you. How can we improve happiness for remote workers? You see, there's a mistake in this question. How can we improve happiness for others? We can't improve their happiness. That's what they should do. But what we can do, we can make offers. We can give the chance to connect with each other. Maybe we can also have a weekly check-out with the whole remote working team and talk about what was good. What is important when we work with remote workers and we want to see how they feel is that we stay connected. No matter if it's with the video chat we had yesterday, we have to turn on the camera so that we can see how people feel, we can see that things are changing in the faces, but also what's happening in the chat. When we are having constantly an eye on this and we see that suddenly people start to communicate in a different way, maybe it's time, maybe it's also too late, but we should realize this and talk with them and say, hey, what's going up? How do you feel? My impression is that something has changed. Yeah? So this is what we can do. But we can't improve the happiness. We can just give the space for being happy and making offers. Happiness is your task. Anything else?
We have time for one more question from the audience. So, yeah, great.
So, by the way, the answers are just common answers because I don't know what exactly is going on. So, when you want to have the right answers, you need to dive deeper. What is the reason for this? What is the root for this? And then you can exactly do something about it.
You mentioned that fun is incorporated in Agile.
Yes.
I don't see it. yet.
Maybe you have a different understanding of Agile.
Maybe you can elaborate more.
Yeah. So we have in Agile, for example, the thing that we say we need to experiment. We know that we don't know everything, yeah, and we need to do experimentations. Experimenting is part of the playfulness, trying to find out, to figure out. And the question is now, do people have the time and the space for doing this experimentation, or is there a lot of pressure? And this is what I said. Being faster is only the result of applying all these agile approaches. But if we only focus on being faster, we maybe forget why we are doing things we are actually doing. So when we run workshops, for example, and we use interactive stuff like brainwriting, and people just get like, oh, brainwriting again. Yeah, and they don't have an idea why we are doing this, because it brings out better ideas. When we do just brainstorming, the first answer will level the quality of all the other answers. When we do brainwriting, we have a better outcome. If we understand this and say, okay, we want to have a better outcome, that's why we are doing this, then it's okay, and we say, ah, great idea. But if we say, oh, I need to write again, can someone else do that? Yeah, we have not understood why we are doing this. And this is what I actually see in a lot of companies. They are doing somehow agile. They are just focusing on the faster approach, and they have not really understood why they are doing agile. And this is a bad situation. Then everything does not feel like fun. If we are doing it in a good way, with the right mindset, it can create fun. Maybe not for everyone, because it's also yeah, taking all the responsibility is not always easy. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Sabine. Thanks for setting up the mood for the day. And it's our turn to share some happiness with you. Here's the gift from the conference.
Thank you.
Yeah.